Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Quantum Backtesting day number 2. This is the second time we're doing this, um, and I enjoyed it last week. I wanted to do it again, and this time, few better settings with the chart. Right now, we got the seconds, so we should see price moving like if it were market open, and we're just going to go over a few little things that I do in the mornings for marking up my chart, especially during pre-market stuff right before um, the market opens, right? And usually with the market open, any market open, right, whether it's Asia session, New York, I'm immediately eyeballing levels. Okay, so I'm already gonna keep an eye of where we are in between levels, and then the next thing I want to do is I want to look at my 5 minute candles. Okay, so I'm going to look at my 5 minute candles. And at this time, 8:55 in the morning, off the bat, we're getting a failed bullish move candle here, right? So first thing I'm doing, I like to do is mark up where my blue candles are on the higher time frame. Okay. Usually when you're pre-market open, you're going to have a lot of chop, um, anticipating for 9 o'clock. Okay. But usually this is what I like to do. I like to kind of see and gauge where these 5 minute support zones might be, and then what price action will do once it hits that during the open. If I have saucebox in play and it lines up with it, right? And again, saucebox is something I teach my students. Then I lined it up with levels and the candles themselves. But I'm more interested in the higher time frame candles for open New York, and this tends to play only for New York. Other time frames volume tends to be a lot lower, so those higher time frame candles don't give the same reaction in terms of what I'm looking for. Okay, so obviously right now, let's see how this candle will close here. I think this one is a failed bullish move, failed bullish move, right? You could kind of see it on your multiple time frames, right? You can see on your 1, your 2, and your 5, right? But we have levels below, so you have to be cautious here, right? If you're gonna have that candle close here, I'm gonna expect a retest of that whole candle, right? You want it to stay underneath that 400, right? Psychological level added as well. You have a few levels above, right? You also have a 1 minute purple, so you have some resistance there. Okay, multiple resistance points up here around 400 for potential retest and rejection. If it breaks above, right, you're going to have a potential continuation up. Again, this is before the market opens, so we're about to see how it develops, and we'll see if we can find a potential setup here. So let's hit play. Okay, so we have my 1, my 2, and my 5. Okay, already marked up where these candles are. So, all right, first thing in the open, right? I'm marking up my candles, making sure I have a decent gauge of where the potential room is, where we could go. Okay, so let's hit play. Okay, so here we go. Right, there's a 5 minute level that just formed at 96, adding another barrier. We're surrounded. Right, there's a blue candle showing up on the 1 minute that disappeared. Okay, so here in this instance, actually, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. I think I put the speed a little too fast. Okay, so I'm going to show you something here, right? Okay, so that 5 minute candle did close below. Okay, 5 minute candle did close below. Okay, let's look. Let's take a look. All right, so as soon as that 5 minute candle closes below, right, I have multiple confluences that this wants to potentially come down a bit, right? So let's let this 5 minute candle close. Now it's going slow, of course. 5x was a little too fast. Doesn't have 4x. All right, so candle closed. There's your retest, okay? Here's that retest, right? If I'm looking at this up here, right? I'm looking at my risk. I immediately always look at my risk first, okay? So I'm looking at 400, this whole 400 area for potential rejection area. This is how I'll play the chop a little bit, right? I'm always expecting a retest. We have multiple, blue breaks right here with this one big candle. We're having another blue potentially form, right? But we have to break through all of this. So if this 5 minute sell candle is going to hold, right, just broke through a bullish candle, we got an A++ setup on the 5. I want to see this hold up here. So what I may do, right, and this is like when obviously this is NQ, right? So I'm not trading minis, I'm trading micros usually. okay, I will look for a retest up around this area, and I already know my stop loss is going to be above 400, right? But where am I going to place it? Well, depend on the risk that I'm willing to take, right? I could put it up here at 405, right? We could get a little wick on the 5-minute level. Absolutely, you can get a wick on a 5-minute level, right? But I want it to stay below all this for a potential rejection point. So if I'm going to look for a sell around here, right? I'm going to look for a sell around here. All right, let's let it kind of fill it in the order, right there, right? My stop loss will immediately go up here, right? And where am I going to aim? I'm going to aim always for 1-for-1. So I'm already eyeballing my risk, right? 92 to 406. If I'm in that late or that early, I'm looking for 15 points, right? If this is what, 13 points, I'm going to look for immediately 13 points first. And then I'm going to want to either trail or take a first TP and then let it trail, okay? So let's see how this plays out, okay? So again, right, you have to be able, even in the chop, try not to get in too early in the center, right? You want to get in when it is close to the top, because your stop loss will obviously be a little less, your risk will be a lot less, okay? So let's see how this develops, right? You want this to stay underneath. It might retest a couple times. This is exactly the kind of setups that I looked at yesterday, right? You wait for the retest of those areas when they're broken. And you guys pay attention, right? I'm saying I want to see it retest this area yesterday during power hour. I was saying I want it to retest this 13-14 area. It went right there and then held and pushed right back up. Same thing. I want to see it retest that 400 area, resist it, hold resistance, and then push back down to potentially test this bottom side, right? And again, we're between 2 5-minute levels. So look at all this. This is ugliness, right? You're going to expect a little bit of choppiness. You're going to expect a little bit of patience here. And this is right before market open, right? Now, hopefully, if the move continues, we want to see this blue candle break next, right? If we want to see that downtrend continue, you want to see this blue candle get broken. And that's confirmation of the flip of trend. So see, there's the break, right? So let's see if this thing can continue to go. Right, and again, we're being cautious because of those levels. So expect a little bit of chop, right? If it gets stuck and if you're not super comfortable with it, right, you could start trailing early. You could have collected your 200 and been good, right? There is your 1-to-1, almost, right? 15. I want to see it get to what, 77, but that's that 5-minute level right there. Hasn't gotten there yet. All right, we got continuation of a failed bullish move. So it's still looking decent, right? Broke through all these 2 minutes. Next would be down here if it can crack through these levels, right? Then you have this one down here at 64, right? There it is. There's your 1-for-1. Now you can start trailing if you want, right? Obviously, I would have multiple contracts in on this. I would have micros, not in Q, okay? Want to keep clear, right? And then I would start trailing from wherever. There's my little play, right? Very low risk. And if it continues to go, it continues to go. And it's very simple, okay? Again, but you have to trust it. You're going to lose trades, right? I'm not perfect, right? This is just an example of the same thing I'm looking for. When you have confluences on multiple time frames, started on the 5, you also had, guess what, on the 1 minute, right? Broke through multiple, right? This big candle broke through 1 and 2, retested the whole candle, right? The whole candle got retested. So even if you didn't want to play it too close or too risky by putting your stop at 405, you could have put your stop right at 400. Okay, you could have put it right up here, the retest of this candle, the breaking candle, right? The candle that broke 2 blues. Expect it to get retested. Okay, that's obviously it doesn't always occur. So again, here's the same setup, right? Here's an A++ setup, right? You could have gotten in here. Personally, I wouldn't take this A++ setup because we have to break this blue candle here. Okay. So I personally wouldn't take this just because of this candle, which you could get caught in this chop right here, right? From 97 to 90. I mean, it's 7 points. You're risking a little bit there. All right, so here's that purple break, right? I'm looking for that retest. Okay, so I'm going to look for that retest, right? Some of you guys could place a sell order or whatever. You know, I personally don't. Oh, wait, it hasn't broken yet. It hasn't broken yet. You have to wait for that candle to close. So not yet. I obviously trade off the DOM. So I always wait for candle closure. It's very important to wait for candle closure, right? If you're looking for a 5-minute blue break or purple break, wait for that 5-minute candle to close. So you have to wait for that candle to close. And if it closes below that 85, right, locks in a 5-minute level here. we're going to get, there it is, right? And you're going to get that retest. Okay, stop loss will be up here, right? That's where I would put my stop loss, and I'm looking for 1-for-1. So I'm risking 16 points on this entry. So horrible entry, but I'm going to go for 16 points at the very least, right? And then I just play the game, right? So I'm going to just say, let's just put it down here if it gets down there. But as soon as I get my 16, I would start trailing it and letting it, taking me out wherever. Okay, so here's where you play the patience game. You have your stop loss. You have here, this again, right? Multiple confluences. Broke through a 2-minute 5, broke through a couple 1-minute blues, right? That 5-minute close below. We have a level below. We have to be cautious on that as well, right? It is risky. Here's that blue break of that 5 as well. Oh, I'm sorry, the blue break on the 1-minute. That's the continuation confirmation. And I want to see it continue to hold each break. I want to see it continue to hold and go, just keep dumping, right? Keep dropping. That's for me the confirmation of a flip, right? Another blue broke right here, right? On the 1-minute, another blue broke. Again, I want to see it continue to hold each break, right? 2-minute also broke right here, right? Next one is all the way down here on that 5-minute. And let's see, look, there's the move. Okay, again, right? This is pre-market setups. You could find pre-market setups still, right? At that point, you could start trailing, right? Here's the same thing. You could start trailing, collect your whatever you're willing to take, and there we go, right? That's an entry for a failed bearish move. Clear stop losses, right? The same setup is on the opposite, and you collect what it gives you, and boom, there's where it takes you out, and you're happy with that move. Okay, you got your 1-to-1. You have your confirmations: failed bullish move, failed bullish move, failed bullish move. Same thing on the 2-minute: failed bullish move, failed bullish move. Look where it jumped, right? Right here on the blue. Right, we got on the 2-minute, this one is what held. We got really close to these 2 5-minute. You have 2 right here. You have that guy and that guy. That's where we got our little bounce. I'm happy with what I got, right? And I could keep this marked up, okay? Now guess what, right? Any blue candle that has been broken, I'm deleting those lines. And guess what I'm going to do, right? For pre-market work stuff, I'm going to start marking up my purples that held the 4 down on that drop. And this is what I'm potentially looking for to break if we're going to go up during New York Open. Okay, so we got this on the 1. I got no purples on the 2. I got that 1 here on the 5, right in between all this. So I know if this is going to go up, this has to break through all this, all these levels and everything. We have a bunch of levels below as well. New York volume will easily crack through levels formed pre-market with that volume kick. And let's wait to see what occurs here as the market approaches open. I'm expecting a retest of levels as always, just like MOC candle. Okay, just like MOC, I'm expecting a retest of levels. So as we're approaching open, right now we're stuck in between here, back and forth in between levels, right underneath these bullish candles that were broken. Here's another 2-minute bullish, right? You can move that line down here now. All right, I have 2 here, so I know I have 2. So you could add a secondary one as well if you'd like, right? Let's see if it breaks through here on this last 2 minutes here. There's the break, right? There's that break, and then you're going to get your little pull up. And again, if this candle closes above here, it's going to test that again. And there, look, so there's a rejection. We got about a minute left till the market opens, sitting right above that 160. So if this holds this 160 area, you're going to expect a little bit of a pop, maybe to retest that 70. There's a 70 level now. So now you're stuck in between here. We got about 30 seconds left. Breaking through that level. Now we're stuck in here. Look at that beautiful failed bullish move right there. That also played out. Super low risk on that for 3 points. There's the drop. Look at that beauty. Kept going, right? Broke that 5-minute blue as well. Now we're breaking all of these, but this needs to continue to break below here, right? Now you got to break 44. Your market open in 20 seconds. All right, look at that. Look at that level attached with the candle. Held. Nice push up, but now we're stuck underneath those previous breaks. Needs to pull back above that 5-minute level if this is going to hold. If not, we're going to continue. Look at that. Boom. Look at that. Okay, you guys see that? Market opening. Let's see what it does down here at 13. Immediate meltdown. Very, very simple Thursday morning. All right, we got that 5-minute signal, and then it just dropped. Look at all these failed bullish moves. This candle right here broke through all of them, immediate meltdown, okay? So when I have these marked up, this is what I'm looking for pre-market. Okay, I want to see what's going to hold, what my action lines are doing, right? We got a nice bounce off that 78 right there, pushed up a little bit, right? But it's retesting those previous breaks. Guess where it's bouncing as well, right? Zoom out. What else do we have over here? That blue candle right there on the 5-minute. Okay, that's where he had that little bounce. That's where you saw this, and now you're seeing the break, continuation, or more dump. Big, big candles. Okay, next one, all the way down here. All the way down here at 133 would have been the next one on the 5-minute. All right, zoom in. All the way down there. Okay. Now our next set of levels is also all the way at the bottom. Okay. Look at that, right? Failed bullish candles, retest, rejection. Okay. And then you get your continuation move. Right? And this is the market opening setups that I look for. And it's on repeat every day, right? But you have to be patient. If there is no closure below candles, right? If this stayed above here, this could get stuck between those 2 points, right? If it gets stuck in here, right? These are zones. Previous breaks, right? They could get stuck in between if they don't continue to break. Once it breaks, these are gone. Those candles are no longer valid. Okay, they're no longer valid for me. And then I'm going to wait for purples. Okay, now I'm getting my first blue on the 5-minute, on the 1-minute. I've got no new candles on the 5-minute. All right, so now guess what? What's the potential play here? Continuation potential here happening. All right, let's see if we get it. Right? If I'm going to get stopped out, I'm going to get stopped out. Let's see, right? That's a blue right here. It's holding on the 5. I'm probably going to get stopped out on this. I got stopped out, okay? I got stopped out. There was that blue on the 5 that is holding. Let me redraw that line. No, this is gone. Never mind. It's all gone. And okay, so it stopped me out. There's a potential re-entry point. And I will get in again. I will absolutely re-enter. All right, another re-entry point. Same thing, right? And if I take strike 2, I'll be out. These are big ass stop losses. Again, I want to be playing with minis. I will not be playing with minis. And let's see if this can continue to go or if we get stopped out again. 2-minute is trying to curl up here. Let's see if we get the continuation push. And again, as you move, right, you can start putting it above the purple candles as well. So it depends on where the entry was. Obviously, the better entry would have been up around here. And if it takes us out again, it takes us out. Obviously, again, right, these are minis. I want to be playing minis. This is a much bigger risk than I would personally be willing to take. The better entry is the retest of the lines. 58 would have been a much better entry than 46. This is obviously delayed. So there's little bit of push. It's not looking too strong at the moment, but at that point, right, you could start moving your stop loss, reducing your risk, right? You could start doing candle by candle, however you want to do it. There's the move, right? You could do however you could guarantee yourself, right? Again, I don't trade minis. The better entry would have been up here, a lot less risk, and then I would have taken what I would have gotten, right? I'm obviously a scalper, so I'm not going to be looking for humongous big moves all the time. That's where my runners are going to collect. And then I would just scalp it, look for a re-entry point. There was another re-entry point on a retest here. Same stop losses above 67 or all the way up there at 96, your choice. And then you would have the continuation, right? I got stopped out here. That's perfectly fine. Guess what? That happens. And then I saw another break. I got right back in it, and I would use the candles as my guide. Look at that thing go, right? There's your drop, continuation. Now we're approaching these beta levels down below, and I would want to see what it's going to do down there. And then I also have new bearish candles to mark up. Boom. Boom. Right? Blue already broke. So these are my resistance points. Let's see if I have anything else on the 5 other than these ones all the way down here about below those levels. And that's it. All right, here we go. We got a blue now on the 1. Nothing yet on the 2. Nothing yet on the 5. So I'll be just playing off of the 1-minute candles. We got a 2-minute cross up. Now we got potential range trying to form there. Blue disappeared. There's another potential setup. There it is. No retest. Is going to give me my retest. Nope, it didn't give me my retest. That's okay. If it doesn't give me my retest, no entry point for me. Another barrier for a push to hold. Until these start breaking, I'm not liking an up push. Okay? I will not like an up push until these purple candles start breaking. And then that's my confirmation for the flip. For the time being, guess what we're seeing? Continuation down. Blue candle break, blue candle break. All right, blue candle break, blue candle break. There's your continuation down. We're approaching this 158. Sucks that we don't have the DOM to look at, because I would definitely be looking at my DOM around here. Right, this would tell me how strong this area is if it's going crazy and giving a strong bounce. By the looks of it, it gave no bounce at all. Broke down even further. And there you go, right? You had another potential entry point up here. Okay, right here, right? The break of the blue. Whoops. Right here, right? Your break, your retest at 11, your stop loss at 25, right? And there was your move. It's just the same patterns over and over and over again, right? We held onto this 34, 31. Now you're getting a potential cross up here, right? This right here could be a potential, you know, a potential buy zone. This is obviously very late, right? I'm just going to show you how I do my stop loss here. My stop loss would be around down here if I'm looking for a potential level push, right? I would honestly want to get in on this candle right here for that push up. I wouldn't want to get in where I just got in right now. If this breaks there, right, this is going to take you out, and that's fine, right? Took me out. I actually put the wick right there, it took me out, and that's perfectly fine. But again, I don't have any other candles, anything to guide me. So resistance right at that level, I would have caught that little right up to that level, scalped it, then been waiting for this range right here, waiting for those candles to appear. So I'm just showing you guys examples of things that I would eyeball. All right, there's the break. No candles appearing so far. So here, I would look at this like an orb, right? Your top, your mid, your bottom. This is holding on to this, and the push continuation potential for a flip would need to break these levels up top, and then I will want to see the confirmation by breaking those candles. So for now, no quantum candles showing up. Sit on your hands, right? Level break didn't play out. Obviously, the scalp I got in late didn't get that little push. And now there's a break back below. There's a blue potential forming, rejection, and now our range is this to this up here. So let's see what happens here. Still no quantum candles. Still no quantum candles. The 5-minute is trying to curl up as well, but it's still stuck in between here. Let's see what occurs. Let's see if this thing can start to push up. Right, this is what I would like. Okay, there's another bearish candle right here. Right, this is what I would like to see. Quantum candles up here. Didn't get anyone. Another push down. There's that sell signal that printed because the cross occurred in front. Okay, cross occurred in front. Another level here, right? And if you're going to play a level bounce, right, same idea. Stop loss below the level. You're looking for 1-for-1 return if you're going to get it. If you're not, you're not. You're going to lose out on levels. And I don't play level bounces. Okay, I personally do not play level bounces because that's what occurs a lot to me, right? If I don't have the DOM, obviously you also have the 3-bar there. If you don't have the DOM, it's going to be hard to tell where there's going to be a clean reaction at a level. Okay, so I want to make sure that everyone understands that. So another area, right? If I don't have the DOM, I'm just going to get in blindly, right? This is why I don't play level bounces. Oh, look, kept going, right? Kept going. Another loss. Guess what? That'd be strike 3. I'd be done. I'm not going to play level bounces like that. I want to wait for my quantum candles to appear. Okay, I don't have any guide. I don't know where it's really going to bounce. I don't know where the real flip is going to be going, right? I'm not trying to catch a reversal. I'm trying to catch a continuation move with my candles aligning. Okay, so I like to give examples like that as well, because a lot of people try to play these level bounces all the time. Do they work out sometimes? Yes, right? But again, I wait for my confirmations. I wait for everything to kind of give me a guidance, right? The action lines are still pulling down. There's no signs of any quantum candles at all. I don't like it until I get something to lean on. Let's wait. Right, next area would be 91.77. All right, let me start answering. Good morning, Rolol. Discord is bugging. Yes, it is. All right, let me make sure I didn't get any questions back. Not frozen on mine. Okay. So, how much of your position do you trim for the first? Usually, if I'm in, let's say, if I'm in with like 4 micros, I'll usually trim 2 out and I'll leave 2 runners. If I'm in with 3, I will trim 1 out and I'll leave 2 runners. That's how I like to do it. If I have 6, I'll tend to get half out and let 3 run. So I spread out the runners, depending on the movement. It might be 5 points, 10 points, 15 points. It depends on the movement. Obviously, if it's like a nice push up and I got 15 points, I'm going to trail 1 by 5, 1 by 10, 1 by 15. If it's up like 20 points, I'm going to trail 1 by 10, 1 by 15, and 1 from entry. And as you approach a level, right, I might move one of those a little closer. Um, just depends on how I do that. All right. Here's a little pushback. All right, now the action lines are trying to curl. This might be a point where we might see a little push up here, right? Let's see if that pushes or not, or we get a failed bullish move, right? This again, right? Super risky because you're in micro minis, right? But here's a failed bullish move, right? I'm going to show you guys what failed, right? Why I don't like to play these in the middle of nowhere, right? Oh, look, let's see. Watch. We're going to lose this one if that continues down. This needs to break below 907 and boom, right? Do not play against the system. I like to show you guys what playing against the stuff works. So right now that push down, I'd be in the negative. If this plays out, that'd be freaking hilarious. But, I have it at the level. I have that. Obviously, I know this is not a clean A++ setup. Why? Because we just had a failed bullish move, right? So what's it doing? It's retesting it. I should be going short. But because I saw the buy signal, I want to be like, I'm going to go long, right? Let's get cooked. Gonna blow this account right here, minus 1600. Okay, we should be in the short. Instead, we're trying to play the long. It'll be funny as hell if this level does hold in and pushes up, because I don't remember this part. This was around 10:30, so I don't think I was even on at this point right now. So let's see. I like to give examples of what going against it looks like. It'll be funny as hell if this ends up playing out. All right, let's see if this continues to push down and stop you out playing against what we already know, right? Cross below, not an A++ setup, failed bullish move. We should see that push continue. There goes. Look at that, right? Don't fight the setups, okay? Just because you see a signal does not mean you should take the signal, okay? Be very, very cautious waiting, right? Cross below usually means the level might get retested. We saw it happen right there, right? So in reality, this is what we should have done, right? This is where you guys have to make sure you understand what we're looking at, what we play against these candles, and I'll show you exactly what we should have done here, okay? This is how I watch my charts, right? If I see a cross below, okay, and I see my blue candle pop up, right, immediately I'd be marking the bottom. Okay, there's the break. So I want to see it hold. If it closes below, I immediately know what I'm going to be doing. Right? You could, right? Some of you guys do this. I don't do this. Right? You could put a sell retest at the line if you want. And if it grabs it, it grabs it. Didn't grab it there. You could put it closer if you want, right? Whatever you want to put it, but you could put it closer. You immediately know your stop loss is that candle, and then you go for your 1-to-1. Which would be somewhere down here, okay? This is what you should have done, right? Obviously minis, so don't pay attention to that dollar amount because I wouldn't be playing this with minis. I'm just gonna put it down here just so I can show you guys, like, visually how I would start trailing it once I get to my TP. It depends on how much you risk and how many contracts you entered. Yeah, so it does depend on that, absolutely. Javier, question. After marking the ranges on quantum candles, whether bullish or bearish, I've noticed that once price breaks out, I often get stopped out by a wick before the move continues in my direction. It is frustrating because I'd rather be invalidated by a full candle close. Yeah, that's true. I agree with you, right? All right, there's and you could just start trailing after your TP got hit, which would have been down there. Right, boom, there you go. Right, that's the play you should have done right there. Not what we tried to do, right? Cross above, below. Okay, let me answer that question for you, Kefa. So I've noticed once price breaks out, I often get stopped out by a wick before the move actually happens in my direction. It is frustrating because I'd rather have it be invalidated by a full candle close rather than a wick. Could this mean my stop losses are too tight, or is it more of a patience issue? Maybe I'm not waiting properly for the retest after the breakout. How would you recommend managing entries and stops in this situation to avoid getting wicked out unnecessarily? So that also plays in part of what time you might be trading. Okay, if you're trading that first 15, 20 minutes, you're gonna get a lot of wicks. It's gonna happen. That first 20 minutes of the market is very wicky. Okay, if you are consistently getting wicked out, right? Pay attention to where the wicks are happening, right? The stop loss is always going to be a break of that candle. Okay, you could wait for the candle closure. Okay, like this, right? Candle closed, you'd be out of it. But there are instances where it'll just push, it'll just go. Okay, so you have to be very cautious. All right, is this that little bit of an up push occurring? I got a 2-minute blue now. All right, so this 1 minute's gone. So, pay attention to what times you're getting wicked out. So I have a specific schedule I trade as well, but I only share that with students, where I'm the most profitable, but like with my funded accounts, right? I can trade whenever. I trade all the fucking time. I could trade any time of the day, and I'm usually trading evals, things like that. And I'm usually passing them really well. But I have a specific schedule I trade my fundeds and my pros during, because I don't want to get, eaten up with chop and random wicks that sometimes come out of nowhere. But you can easily document that yourself as well and find out. That's how I did it. I documented my best times and my worst times. So that's what you want to do. And then again, right, stop losses. I just respect my stop losses. I get stopped out. It happens. But it depends on the time that you're trading, where you're getting those unnecessary wicks. Sorry, I missed. And remember, the stop loss is always clear, right? The stop loss on an A++ setup is that little line below, right? Do I put it right at the line? No. Usually I'll give it a couple points of breathing room because of wicks. The candle closure, this is the only one where I tend to respect it. I don't really always put it high. I put it like maybe a point above, but I try to keep my risk pretty consistent. Sorry, I missed this in the beginning as my screen wasn't working correctly in Discord. What are your pre-market levels you mark up? Okay, yeah, let's go over that again, right? So I only mark up. All right, let's do it again for Friday. So let's watch. We'll do it again for Friday, Lindsay. All right, we're still in Thursday right here. We're going to go and do it for Friday. And I'm going to show you exactly how I would do it on the next day as well. All right. Oh, we were about to get a purple there. So this was a nice push up off that level at 91. That's a 2-minute level that held. Broke back above. Nice little wick back up. Nice little push. Right, but I don't have anything guiding me for a continuation. No purple candle breaks, no nothing. So this is just a potential little push. Here's a blue. All right, 2-minute. Oh, yeah, here we go. 2-minute candle break purple for potential continuation push here incoming. And let's see if we can catch a continuation move. Oh, never mind. No. The 2-minute didn't close yet. The 2-minute didn't close yet. Nope, you have to wait for that 2-minute candle to close. All right, 2-minute didn't close yet. All right, so here we go. We got a 2-minute range. And you're going to wait for a 2-minute candle closure for potential entry on a continuation up. If it presents itself, now we got our 2-minute range right here. Here's a purple on the 1. Now we got our 1-minute range. Now we wait for a move. All right, here's a potential break. Nope, didn't close. Didn't close, no entry. Here's another blue on the 1. Nope, didn't stay blue. Here's another potential push. This is where it can get tricky because your 2-minute and your 1-minute need to kind of align here. Nope, didn't close above. Look at that, right? Tippy tip. Not even a tippy tip. You have to wait for candle closure. If not, no go. Big purple coming in. Adding a little bit, little tiny bit to that right there. Now let's wait. And again, right, 17 to 85. There's your break, right? Again, where would my stop loss be? Right below here or below there, depending on what you want. That's a tippy tip break, not a fan. Guess what? The 2 minute didn't break above. Let's get cooked here. Okay, the 2 minute didn't get closure. All the way back down, and we're probably going to get stopped out. Let's see. Nope, back up we go, right? I'd be playing this up and down until it breaks one side. This is your nice chop from 22 all the way down to 85, and the 2 minute didn't close above, so I entered a little too soon, right? Impatient. Didn't look at my 2 minute. Now let's see if this keeps going or not, right? I'm looking for that 1 for 1, so I will be like somewhere up there. See if this 2 minute can close above and kind of give that confirmation. There's that push, right? This is where you should be getting in. Your stop loss should be down below that 900 area. That what is it, 99? That would have gotten you wicked out right there, right? That break back in. That would have gotten you wicked out if you had your stop right there. All right, let's see if this can continue to go here. 5 minute has a blue as well. All right, and we're fighting the downtrend. So we are also fighting the downtrend. So this is where we could get a little stuck here. So let's see if this keeps going or if it rejects backwards. It's not looking strong to me, so this might reject backwards. It might not give that continuation pop that I'm looking for. If it does, great. If it doesn't, right? If I'm not liking the weakness, you're seeing all these wicks continuation, you can move your stop loss up. No purples, no new purples. If this breaks back in, it's going to test back the range again. All right, let's see if this can get going a little bit. 5 minute is struggling to push as well. There's a little bit of a push. There you go. All right, there you go. And then you could start trailing, you know, whatever. If they didn't give you the full move, you could start going break even. Right, if it breaks back into the range, you reduce your risk. All right, better entry and better risk. You would have gotten your better risk RR on that 2 minute entry potentially. But guarantee yourself something if you want, right? This is not looking like it wants to continue on the 5 minute. And there's a purple. Oh, didn't form. There's another continuation push. There we go. Now can we get more push? There's your finally your 1-to-1 came in, and now you can trail, right? You can trail it. There you go. Boom. Right? Took a while, played out. And this was a good example of where you might have gotten wicked out. Boom. TP hit, you're done. Okay? This was a good example of where you might have gotten wicked out on that candle closure, right? And this was technically a tippy tip break. This was another break that would have occurred later on, right? This would have been a better breaking candle in terms of the type of candle, which is a bullish hammer, right? This would have been the better entry technically, not a tippy tip candle break. The 2 minute, right? The 2 minute candle closure obviously would have gotten you wicked out as well by literally like a couple points, right? The entry would have been anywhere around 07, like 10. Your stop loss would have been right at 25,000. That wick came down to 97, right? So it's okay to give it a little bit of wiggle room, but don't give it too much, right? I placed it right below the range. If you're willing to do that as well, you can, right? But you're looking for 1-to-1. That's the thing that you want to make sure you have room to get to that 1-to-1. Okay, so that took its sweet little time to get up there. I aimed for 1-for-1. We got it. Right now we have another bearish candle here. So now if this is going to continue to go up, right, the same thing, the confirmation of the flip is the continuation breaks of the bearish candles. So for this particular candle, you also want to be careful though, because you have that level above. So let's see here, right? Let's see what occurs here if this candle closes above, right? This is a blue candle. All right, there's your closure. Right, let's say I got in here, stop loss will be right below either this area or the blue, right? Got that level resistance. Let's see if I get stopped out here. All right. Let's see what we got. So we got that level resistance here. So this is again, right, an example of just taking multiple trades. And let me draw my blue line. This one will be blue now. Boom. Purple. Let's see if we get that push. There it is. Ta-da, right? Just mind your risk. Just mind your risk. But there it is. There's a continuation push, another scalp, another play, right? Patience, patience, patience. But it's on repeat. It happens over and over and over again, right? This is the confirmation of a flip for me, right? The breaks of bearish candles, the continuation breaks, that's the continuation flip that I'm looking for. I had nothing down here. I got stopped out a couple times trying to play level bounces, right? That's why I don't play pure level bounces. I want confirmations. I don't like to play these. I don't like to play the crosses that occur above. Do they sometimes play out? Yes, they do sometimes play out, but they're risky because of this exact instance that occurred here, okay? This exact instance, right, failed bullish move, testing the level, we got a down push, okay? Now, right, this is another like interesting point, not interesting, but this is another point that I like to bring up, right? Previous failed crosses, right? Across here, this formed a level at 908, okay? That 908 was a little bit of a stomping ground. You had a push down every time it broke below. You had a push up when it broke above, push down, right? And then once it finally kind of closed above and then broke through all those previous kind of that like little range that it was stuck in over here, right? Just regular range, right? Then it started pushing above and then made its little move, right? Basically it reclaimed that level. So that 908 got reclaimed after the closure and the continuation. But for the meantime over here, when it was stuck in this range, that 98 was a little bit of a stomping ground. Got to pull down, then finally closed above, and then broke above these previous little range candles that were formed, and then you got that little push. Okay, and then you had your confirmation for the flip. Failed bearish move, oh, another range, right? Another range, same thing. What do? Same exact thing. We could delete all those old lines, right? You could keep the valid blues, right? Oh, look at this one, actually. This one closed below, right? Pulled back up, got wicky. You would have gotten wicked out. You probably would have gotten wicked out on this, right? Again, you can make this style to your liking, right? Oh, look, there's a continued failed, let's see what happens here, right? Bad entry, right? Stop loss could be up here. Whoops. I don't know what I just did right there, but there it would have played out. Okay, so so the stop loss would be above any of these two areas. You don't want it to break back in if it does, right? Or that candle above, and you would aim for your 1 for 1, right? 20 points. Would you have gotten 20 points on this? Yes, you would have gotten 20 points and then some. Okay, so it's the same patterns on repeat, right? You could wait for just these ranges. You could play just the breaks of the quantum candles. You can play, right, A++ with your confirmations. I love using llama stuff with my confirmations, but you'll see the same pattern, you see the same setups, you see the same risks tend to play out, right? You really will get 1-to-1 RR very consistently, but you still have to be patient. You have to wait. Don't try to catch big plays every single trade, right? A trader will wait an hour to catch a 50, 70, 80 point trade. I easily collect 50, 60 points in way less time than that, right? But that doesn't mean I don't take losses in between. I will always take a loss or 2 or 3, right? But they're scattered because I'm very picky with what I'm entering in. Some plays don't present entry. I won't take it. But you'll see how many times you play the same thing over and over again, right? That short played out, right? We broke our bullish candles, right? The continuation played out until we got up here. Then it stalled out. Then you play the reverse side, right? Boom, 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 boom. There it goes. Look, right back down to these blue candles. And if it breaks down here, right, continuation. Okay. A lot of people complicate quantum. It shouldn't be that complicated. You just have to trust the process. Trust the setups, right? Wait, be patient, respect your stop losses, and keep sizing consistent.